Hey everyone, Joe Shap here with a video on the new early access factory automation game Alchemy Factory. I've been having a ton of fun with this game, and I recently made a video about some late game approaches to making a lot of gold and earning a lot of XP for upgrade points. In this video, I want to focus on the early game. Hopefully, help some people out with useful information for getting started. Um, and I'll also include some tips and tricks that maybe even players that are further along might find useful. So the early game, right off the bat, you're starting out manually. You're gonna build your table saw. You're gonna go buy some logs over there, put the logs on the table saw. Um, get some of your planks, grind into large wooden gears, process into small wooden gears, and you're gonna manually take these gears into the shop and manually put them on the shelf. And you'll select, and then you can either click or hold the left click to put them on. And if you want to get them out, you can select a different good. So it's just manually, and then eventually these logs will run out. You'll have to go buy more, manually run over to buy more and put them in. The goods will get purchased and they'll run out. You have to manually go run more over of them. When customers buy them, you'll have to manually take their purchases. They'll put it down on here, and you'll have to manually sell it to them. And when you unlock plants, you will build some of these seed plots, buy some seeds in there, in that store right over here. Initially flax and then also sage. And you'll manually harvest it and deposit it into some production. Probably the main thing that you want first is grind it into fibers, process the fibers into thread, process the thread into rope, and then you can sell the rope, and you can also use the rope for building certain items. And when you finally, and then as you're doing this, you're working through your main quest. When you get to level 3 in the main quest, you'll unlock catapults. This will enable you to catapult items, for all sorts of reasons. But when this, one thing that's really useful is catapulting items into the stalls for selling. And you don't even actually have to select the good. It'll just put the item in there. And this means you no longer have to restock manually. The restocking is happening for you. You'll still have to handle the sales yourself until tier level 4. When you unlock level 4, you'll have access to a few new things. In here, you'll be able to buy the automatic cashier and the portal sigil. The automatic cashier, as you can see, it's been taking orders for me in here. And then if you hook it up to a conveyor belt, the money from the orders will conveyor off. Which brings us to the bank portal. The bank portal will take money in, and you can output in whatever form you want. So this one is set up to do 1 silver. So it'll take in whatever's coming in, whether that's any type of coins, and whenever it reaches 1 silver, which is in the case of taking in copper, that's 1,000 copper, it'll send out 1 silver. And then, so I'm doing that for storage reasons. And then here, I'm sending out 50 copper coins. And so this currently has like 4 silver in it, and it's sending out 50 at a time. And then I have it going through a tunnel conveyor to send money throughout my factory here. And what it's sending money to is these purchasing portals. Just a portal stone and wood. The bank portal needs iron, which you might not have right away. You can just like if you have the cashier set up before you have iron set up, you can just send the copper straight through. You don't need to do this middle step, and then you can just do this step later when you have some iron. But once you have a purchasing portal, you can select the good you want, and it will just buy logs. In this case, whenever this table saw has room for a log, this will buy another log. In this case, it's limestone, and over here logs and iron ore. And then I'm using a catapult again to catapult the iron ore into the iron smelter. And iron is also the first time you need to smelt. And smelting requires putting things on top of a furnace. The furnace needs fuel for heat. You can just use wood if you want, the planks. Use the planks if you want, but if you put the planks through a crucible, you'll make charcoal. And if you grind the charcoal, you'll get charcoal powder. And each of these steps makes it a higher fuel value. You can see wood is a heat value of 20, and charcoal is 40, and charcoal powder is 48. So it just makes it more efficient fuel, more cost efficient. And then, yeah, just making the iron into iron nails in the processor. Okay. So as you're doing this, you're working on your main quest to keep getting further levels. The random quests pay a nice premium on the price of the goods. The carpenter quest unlocks new things you can build. You eventually want to finish all of these. The sample request unlocks purchase contracts, which allow you to do sort of a wholesale. You can sell a bulk amount. So in this case, you can sell 800 per day of these bandages, but it's for less than they would be able to be sold if you sold them through the shop. And the way you sell these ones for a contract is you just conveyor them into a dispatch portal, and then for every in this case it says they want 50 at a time. For every 50 that go in, 12 silver will come out of the dispatch portal. So that's an option. I've done factories that are pretty much only using the purchase contracts, and I've done factories that pretty much only use the shop, and I've done factories that do a little bit of both. So it's really up to you. With the shop, you have this thing, this number here is called your shop reputation. When customers come in, they have certain items that they want. They can want anything that you're currently able to produce. And if they want something that you don't have, your shop reputation can go down. If they keep finding everything that they want, your shop reputation will slowly go up. If you have unlocked a new item you can make and you're not ready to make it and you care about your reputation, you can close the shop while you're setting up the production for that new item. The reputation doesn't matter all that much. What it controls is how much foot traffic you get. But it's not a massive change. Like if you have 0 reputation, you still get some decent foot traffic. So you don't have to stress too much about it. If there's an item you don't want to be making, you can just not. In my case, I don't want to be making these potions because I don't want to be constantly manually farming right now. I don't have a way to automatically produce the flax and sage, so I don't want to be selling these potions and constantly needing to refill their inputs. I am selling the rope, which takes flax, but that's, it's not too bad. And I need rope anyway for some of the things I like to build, such as these conveyor lifts. The conveyor lifts, as I just said, they do take rope, and they take, if you see, it takes 2 rope at a baseline. But if I lift it, the higher I go with it, the more rope it takes, and the more wood it takes, or planks. But the planks aren't super easy to get, so that's something to keep in mind. A lot of times, this is the height you want for them. Like a lot of times you either want like one of these ramps heights, so you can just use these ramps, but they take up more like horizontal space than the conveyor lifts. So it's just a trade-off, and it's a personal preference. The catapults need the rope, and yeah, catapults unlock beginning of level 3. This other automation stuff comes at the beginning of tier 4. First catapult, then the dispatch, or the purchasing portal and bank portal. Okay, also in Tier 4, you unlock the nursery and basic fertilizer. This makes it possible to automate plants, but I wouldn't recommend it because basic fertilizer is not very good. Once you have advanced fertilizer, it's like much, much better. So I would probably go for that before automating your plant production. But at this point, everything is just automatically being produced. And you can see this tunnel conveyor makes it possible to go through the wall to make, if I want to bring more things in, because obviously this doorway is getting crowded. One other thing is that the you can take out loans, and these don't seem to charge interest. They just, you can only have one out at a time. So you have to pay back your current loan before you take out another one. These can be helpful for if you're low on funds and you're trying to get something built, but you know you're going to have income. These can be nice. You can expand by buying additional lots. This one is 6,000 around. This one's later in the game. It's expensive, 150 silver. But just past the one that's 6,000, this one is 8,000, and then this one's 15, but just over here is this one's 10,000. So these will be the first ones you buy, and this will be enough space for a while. You'll also eventually get the ability to build vertically by building like wall supports. That's why I haven't built right against the edge. I like to leave a little bit of space so that I don't have walls that will be giving support. All right, there's a couple tips and tricks that I want to share with you all. One is this way of, you'll get assemblers that take in 2 inputs, and sometimes you want a few of them. This is a simple way to get your 2 inputs feeding in through one belt and then go into your assemblers. And you can also do this with the higher ones. There's many ways you could do this. You can like catapult to a hopper. So you could basically you could have like stuff coming in here. And you can catapult it to a hopper, which could be at one of these or some. There's just a lot of ways to do it, but this is an easy one, just using conveyors. Okay, and a tip for deleting belts and pipes once you get those as well is if I want to delete, you can use this area delete, but like if I only want to delete the mortars, this is like now I have to like unselect these or something. So I can just hover over the belt and click G, and it'll do everything attached to that belt. And this also works for pipes, which is really nice because it's quite annoying to like have to manually do this. So again, that's just hovering over it and pressing G. And if you confirm it, it'll usually ask you to confirm. And which in this case, I don't actually want to delete it. 2 last things I wanted to cover. One is the workbench, which I ignored for a while. I was like, didn't really understand the description, didn't seem necessary, but it actually has it just has some upgrades for you. Inventory space is super nice. The potion belt makes you sleep less. It makes you go to sleep later. You still will wake up at 6, but you'll go to sleep later. And eventually this starts giving some movement speed, which is really nice, like when you're sprinting. The building tools lets you build new furniture. So first it's like some stairs and tables and a bulletin board, which is nice if you want in-game notes on that bulletin board. But then you get the walls and the floors, and this is when you can start building like vertically in terms of like floors. Like you can make like multiple floors of things, and you can use the walls to give structural integrity. The gloves give restocking speed, and I'm not sure if they eventually give anything else, but we should not be manually restocking if you can help it. So yeah, that's the workbench. And then we have the upgrades. And they're all good, pretty much. Um, Logistics and factory bring these up together because they will stay proportionately, like the proportions will stay the same if you bring them up together. The base speed of the conveyors is 60, so 15 is 25% of them, and then this makes them 25% faster. I don't I don't typically do this one because you can just make more catapults or more cannons. Cannons are a later, like, better version of catapults, but they have a minimum range. I haven't used this one. It might be good. I'm not sure. The heat and the fuel efficiency and fertilizer efficiency makes your fuels go further and your nutrients, like your fertilizers, go further. These are really good for the late game. Sales ability makes your shop profit higher, which is really nice because it actually makes your shop revenue higher. So this increase, like, is just like all your costs stay the same, but your revenue goes up, and so your profit goes up even more than 3%. And so it's nice to have a few levels of this just to make your margins more comfortable. This is good if you are just like mass producing something and you want to do more of the purchase contracts using those dispatch portals. This makes quest rewards better if you're doing a lot of those like random quests and stuff, and that's giving you a lot of your money. You can get the customer management. And this makes relics give more XP, which relics give it. Eventually, you'll be able to make these relics, which give XP, which the XP gives you more of these upgrade points. But it gives less than, or each time you get an upgrade point, you need more XP for the next one. So it doesn't really make sense to use them on this unless you're going to try to do some like get a bunch of points with boosted XP and then reset to not use it, to not have any of this. Also, the shop profit increase does not affect the purchase contract or the quest rewards. It only affects goods sold in the shop. And that's it for the upgrade tree. So those are all like the sort of fundamentals and tips I wanted to share today. Hope it's helpful. Ultimately, this is the type of game where you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want to do, just have fun with it. Build a factory that's really your own. So, take some inspiration, but also try some of your own things. And I will probably be back with a video about sort of the mid-game, some ideas for how to structure a mid-game factory. So thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, and have a great day.